technology. Does it exist? Is there bad technology? It does, but that's not the technology that we're talking about, because we're talking about behavior after development, which really rides onto your presentation. Mine's going to be a great correlation to it. But behavior after technology, or behavior after development, excuse me, I've traveled around the world, I don't know how many times, and I've been to a lot of different organizations. I've implemented a lot of different solutions, and I consistently see one thing. I see a waste. So let's talk about this. So this is me. I don't know why I did this. You know, we have to tell who we are and validate it. But mostly the most important thing here is I'm a good human. And that's what I like to purport. When somebody asks, who are you, what do you do? I say, I'm a good human. And I just look at them and how do I get past that? And then the engagement comes and then we start talking, right? So it's fun. So let's get past that. So my thoughts in terms of the experience are the working environments, and in particularly how we're not continuing the evolution of an innovation that we've already created. So what I'm seeing is I'm seeing these great solutions that we're deploying, and they're not being utilized to their full capacity. They're not being optimized. What happens is, and I really wanted to try and avoid this, but I don't want this topic to be stymieing innovation. That's not what this topic is. I got Steve Jobs back over here chiming in my ear, don't you dare slow down innovation. Innovation's important, but innovation has a place. When we put innovation in a sequential order, things work. But when we build a solution and we deliver it to our customer, and the customer doesn't retain or get the value out of that solution, that's a big problem. So let's talk about that. In our current digital landscape, we have responsibilities. We're selling, we're purchasing, we're negotiating, we're getting more deals. We're in lots of meetings since COVID, lots of meetings. And we're doing lots of work. But on top of that, on top of that, your customer is wanting something from you. Now, I call this the unknown dilemma because your customer wants value from you, from the solution that you presented, but to what extent are you providing that value? That's really key. That's really, really important. Now, I come from a partnership background. I believe when going to business, it's best to approach business in a partnership mentality if you have that kind of environment. It builds such stronger relationships. So, this model shows you the seller and the purchaser experience. Now, ROV is return on value, and for the seller, return on value equals return on investment. So if I have my sales force out there, I have sales enablement, I have marketing, I have branding, everything going for me, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I can sell something and I can have a good return on value for that because I'm doing the right things, but more importantly, is my return on investment coming in? If everything's aligned up, yes it is. If you're partnering with the right people, if you're doing the right things, absolutely. Now, on the other end, the customer, the purchaser experience, they're putting out the money, right? Well, the OEM, the sellers put out the money. They've trained, their staff. They've spent money on branding and everything else. But more importantly, over on the customer, the purchaser experience, where we focus, return on investment really means return on value. Now, if they get a good return on value, it's a good investment, right? It's just simple math. So, in the innovations that are out there, maybe there's another approach. Maybe we should maximize the existing solutions that we're really, really putting out and that can really drive value. So once the customer actually sees that, let me put it this way. If I come to you and I sell you and your organization a solution, and 5 years down the line, you're kind of working it and you're utilizing it and it has its place, but you're not using it to its full functionality. What happens? You start looking over your shoulder and you start thinking about other concepts, other solutions that will fulfill that gap. We don't need to do that. So this has kind of a sustainability factor to it. What we need to do is we maybe need to think more modular when we think about developing SaaS. And if we can do that, why take a solution that you spent millions of dollars on and you put it out into the market and it's there for a limited amount of time because you've got developers in the background that you've hired, a fleet of them, and they're developing and they're wanting to put some more technology out. Technology doesn't need to slow down, it just needs to have the right places at the right time. So my discussion here is about, let's capitalize on the solutions that we're putting out. Let's make them work for us ad nauseam, to the end of their value. And then when they're at the end of their value, that's time to take them and put them to bed and have that new resource, that new innovation come in and play with your customer. It's important because if we talk about the sustainability of where we're at in life and in business and commerce, I don't see anything being done with software. I don't see any real focus being done with software, and I'm talking about the development phase. I'm not talking about the end user in that part. I'm talking about, let's maximize our opportunities. Let's take the solutions that we're developing and really think about what we're doing and look forward down the line. Now, the Japanese, they've got a great philosophy when they approach business. They look at business years down the line. I'm not talking 5 and 12 like we started practicing a few years ago. I'm talking about 150 years down the line, because they have that much faith in their brand. They have that much investment in their brand that they want to make sure that it takes the right path. It takes the right path with the industries that they're in, with their customers, with their end users, everybody. So that's important. I think that we need to think more about that. I think we need to think more about, when we innovate and we develop software solutions, what the long road is. Now, for Schneider Electric, when I was hired on Schneider Electric, one of the first responsibilities that I was charged with was deploying a solution. And as I deployed that solution, I was liaising information back to senior leadership. Well, senior leadership made a really fast decision based on the information I was bringing back. Let's cut bait. Let's cut bait on that solution. Let's not do that. It's static. We're hearing it from the customers. Well, what we could have really done is we could have really modified that solution. We could have really taken the time to look at that and say, okay, let's address our customers' needs and look at it. Instead, what we did, it's almost like Brooks. Everybody understand Brooks' Law? Nobody? Software. In software, Brooks' Law, if you add more people, the job will get done faster. And that's kind of the mentality that we're washed in and that we're thinking about constantly, is that, hey, I got to get this done. We're on to the next project as soon as this project is done. So I think it's concerning. I think that you would share it and find that that's concerning as well. But we're not stymieing innovation. We're not doing that. So we just need to ingrain ourselves in our customers' business a little bit more, have more of that partnership type of mentality. And that's where return on value, return on investment is going to be equalized by both parties. That's a symbiotic relationship. That's a fantastic relationship to have. So my suggestion to you is, if you're a decision maker, it's time to connect with the other leaders in your company, have a discussion. Is the approach that we're taking into the market the right approach? Are we doing the right things here, and is this working? If it's not the right approach, then maybe you need to have those conversations, have more meetings that we've gotten accustomed to since COVID, and decide whether or not your approach is going to work, if it's going to be fulfilling for you for time down the line, or if it's time to think about something else. Now, if you're on the other side, if you're a sales professional, it may be time to go back, and it may be time to show your true colors in terms of leadership and go to your leaders and say, hey, look, we need to change things. I know that's your job. I know that's what you're paid for. I know that's the title that you got, but we need to change the way things are done. And we need to think about more of a partnership mentality. We need to think about the solutions that we're putting out and how effective those solutions are and how sustainable that they are. So with that, I'd like to say thank you very much. My name is Randy Wright. Have a great day.